not only about working with what you have, but it's also too an aspect of gratitude. You can only work with what is because the now is the only moment. And doing your best to stay in a positive state, even though you might not love the circumstances per se, they're probably working out for your benefit. Hold that thought. Sometimes we don't realize the circumstances and we look back much later on and we're like, wow, I'm so thankful that didn't work out for me. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Reflection Connection podcast. I'm your host, Vince Jamieson. So today I have a really interesting conversation, and it's something which has also been coming up for me. Um, it is about making the most of your present moment and working with it. So today is going to be episode 13, and I'm entitling it, This Moment is All You Have. And with that, I think that for me, at least, when I look back, especially on different times in my life where situations, whether big or even small sometimes, um, were feeling challenging or not as I wanted. And it's very easy to want to escape the moment or to want to bypass it or get that done in the sense of I'd rather check out or I'd rather distract or I'd rather do something else. And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that or with those choices, and those might be the best situations for you in that moment. But if this is a continual kind of way of handling things, or if it's going on for a long time, it's definitely something to look at. And one of the things that I want to get at is something which I was reminded of recently, and it's so simplistic that it's one of those things that kind of is easy to forget or to look beyond. But this moment, whatever the circumstances, and this moment is an ever evolving moment. It's ever evolving. So this moment, and now this moment, and this moment, and later on today and tomorrow, every moment is the most important moment and the most important place for you to be. And when you don't love where you are, that can be a challenging concept to hold on to. But we're reminded that this moment is the only moment where you are. This moment is the only moment where you exist. It's the only moment where you have power. It's the only moment that is true. Anything else is your brain, your mind's flipping into past or future, past worries or past memories or future hopes or future fears, right? And so for many, and also for me at certain times in my life, I got caught up in that. And there's an aspect where you can pop in and out of it. And when you're playing with ideas of manifestation or ideas of thinking about things in order to create clarity, especially when you're contemplating certain things, right? So then you're doing that. You're flipping into past and future, and maybe primarily future, and different scenarios you're playing out. And that's healthy and that's normal and that's useful a lot of times. But when you're using it as an escape and you're saying, this is not okay, I want this, that's okay. That's part of working with, again, sorting out. But if you then stay in that place, so I don't know, I want to live in Hawaii, but I don't right now. If every moment is spent contemplating or being in or distracted with things of Hawaii, there's an aspect where you're focusing your energy, right? And if that's part of the game that you're playing, that again can be useful. I'm fine tuning here, I'm not trying to make a right or wrong. I'm looking at nuance. And what I'm saying is there's an aspect that can be useful, but it's a slippery slope. And it can easily go into just distraction and rejection of what's here, which is innately you being out of gratitude for what is, of what you have. And gratitude, the energy of gratitude, the energetics of gratitude is so useful and so intrinsic in manifesting, in creating, in energetically aligning. And when you're holding yourself in this place of rejection, like, no, instead of seeing maybe that this is a beneficial place and maybe it's lasting a little longer than you might have liked, but maybe there's reason for that. And you could delve into, some possibilities of, well, what would I have to believe in order to keep creating this? Or can I find a benefit out of this situation? And can I be with that? And can I just remain present? There's not, again, nothing wrong with any of this. It's just a nuance. And I found it with myself recently as I'm working towards a lot of other things. There was almost like a annoyance, like a consistent annoyance at what is and the things, I just said it, the obstacles, the things that are present in my current experience that are almost like, building on what I spoke about last week, almost like the wake of what was, right? It's the what I created days and weeks and months ago. There's a little bit of a wake of that still in my experience, even though I'm working, creating now and moving towards a future goal. There's a fine line where energetically we can get into a rejective kind of state of like, no, I'd rather be there. And, this is better. This is what I chose. This is whatever. And again, I keep on emphasizing this because it's not a right or wrong. It's a subtle nuance that I think actually is quite powerful when we could remain in the moment, keep on coming back to the moment, keep on coming back to deeply engaging in our physicality, to feeling yourself being inside your body, right, is one of the best ways. And to not necessarily get stuck in gratitude lists, but be in a state where you're consistently just finding something to be grateful for, reminding you of how it has worked for you, even if it's not currently. Maybe that job has supported you. That job did allow you to get certain things, even though it might not be your ideal or what you wish for now, or that place of living or that relationship, right? So there are oftentimes aspects of our lives which serve us in some way initially and then don't any longer. And part of that is not staying as comfortable or as active with the idea of change. We come from a society where we want to and are encouraged to create security through sameness, buying a house and settling down in an area, and you want to be with people that you know. And there's, again, nothing wrong with any of that in any way. But if you're using those things as a crutch because of fears, and you actually want to be living a more adventurous life, then that's something to look at. And what I'm getting at again is just getting back to the real basics of whatever your process is and whatever kind of game per se that you're playing. Return to the present. Return to inhabiting your body and feeling that, feeling the energetics of your body, feeling yourself in your bones, if you will. Return to simple gratitude and allow that to also, in each of those things, they'll highly tune your vibrational attraction, your vibrational eminence toward that which is wanted, towards happier things, towards a more positive approach, a more positive attraction. Because you're not creating a conflict by what you're saying that you're wanting and what you're thinking that you're wanting, and then how you're feeling, which is, again, a bit of a rejection or a bit of a dismissal, disgust even, right? And so, yeah, I've experienced this quite a lot because I can really palpably create something and really fine tune what I want. And in doing so, I create such a strong like eminence, a strong like vibration with it, that it feels like it creates such a huge gap in where I am at times. And again, then the game is like closing that gap, right? But part of closing that gap is not completely poo-pooing on where you are. Just realize that that was necessary even for you to maybe have the thought of what you wanted. Maybe it brought clarity, maybe the dysfunction of the situation or maybe just the unhappiness of the situation or the non-idealness of the situation is what was necessary for you to have the clarity to then want this, which you're wanting now, which you think is going to bring you greater happiness, right? That's what most of our choices are. It's the idea that this, whatever this is going to give us greater happiness or joy or peace or whatever. And so if we're not feeling that already where we are in the moment, but instead rejecting the moment or holding frustration within, then we're sending out a counterproductive emanation, a counterproductive vibration where we want the happiness, but we're sending out, right? And so, yeah, like I said, just fine tuning today, looking at some nuance that I hope is helpful. This is something that I'm working with, and we all always need reminders because sometimes the simplest things just kind of slip through. There's something about the mind which likes these like big, meaty, kind of crunchy ideas that are new and involved. And sometimes it's the simplest things that are the most powerful, but also the easiest to let slide or overlook that that's actually what's going on. So again, a short one today. I hope this was helpful. And as always, I'm here reminding you of all that you already are and all that you are already connected to. Until next time.